But people are
Is
going to do
it?
it. It's called folding. They do it in Ohm Forks as well as like on Abracadabra and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's just you're it's a way to actually create leverage in the system basically. But it's zero. It's technically I guess zero. It's zero overall system debt, but it is personal debt in a way. So like so you can have individuals in the system go belly up, but it will not indebt the system. There's things where like you're pulling money out of thin air. Where like let's just say a coin's worth $1 billion, and, and they can handle $1 billion of transactions. Let's just say, and that like just to preface that for 1 second, and then you start borrowing money that doesn't exist out of thin air to actually buy the coin up, but then the loans get hammered out. Then you could have entities where they're like there's not enough money in the system to pay back those loans because even like somebody could borrow $2 million or $2 billion on a $1 billion protocol. I guess it'd pump crazy, but basically what I'm trying to say is like because that entity could go belly up and then no one and then that dude can't get his money back and he's down 2 billion. So it creates like systematic risk, and it's pretty bad for the systems. And this is one of the reasons why crypto can do 80% corrections and then come back to life because we basically don't have any debt in the system. No real like unbuttered debt. Some people do borrow from banks and stuff, but it's not really that correlated. What
yeah.
scares me is in the longer term. This has been talked about for a while. That they're trying to bring how do I say uncollateralized loans on the blockchain in crypto pretty much by Q3 of next year.
How do you have an uncollateralized loan? That sounds insane.
Basically, they're trying to create a credit score system. Well, so here's really the master plan of it. The master plan of it is to have consequences for like what they don't the reason they don't like crypto is because like if like you can lever yourself out like crazy on the equities market and they can take your house, your kids, your baby mama, everything,
Mm.
right? And they love that, like because it's almost like the credit card system a little bit. We're like, yeah, let's just indebt this fool. We'll just keep we'll just keep paying us money, and then when he can't pay us, we'll take everything he's got, and it's kind of nice. Then if you look if you if in crypto they can't do that. All they can do is just take the money from the wallet and that's it. You know,
Mm.
so if that's the case, so what they're trying to do is create ways where like they're gonna start loaning. Basically, they're gonna start giving credit scores to certain things. Like this one's always paid back their loans. They never defaulted. They never lost on it. It's like that sort of thing. They've always done good things, and then that's going to be the honey dick in the beginning. Then from there, they're going to start like offering people uncollateralized loans and stuff on their portfolio. But hey, you got to dox yourself and stuff and things like that. And then this is how they can
Yeah.
tether it to fuck you up in crypto. So with crypto, they'll liquidate you in crypto, and then they don't just liquidate your portfolio; they'll liquidate you in the real world as well. And it's like, oh,
Yeah, you tie your identity to it, and then it becomes like taxable, or they can fuck you up in the real world, basically.
exact, and that's what they're trying to. That's what they're like. Fuck, there's not like these greedy fucks. Are like, there's not enough. We can't rug them enough. How can we rug them more? How can we rug
Damn
them
it.
more?
Yeah, be careful about that, guys. This is the first time I'm hearing about that. Like,
That's
I
coming.
would never.
There's so I've heard so many. I've heard like so many YouTube channels and like I've heard a ton of VCs talk about this already in the last 6 months. And they're like, I can't wait. I can't. They're like fucking so excited about it because it's just like
Ugh.
fucking.
It's kind of gross. It's kind of gross that they're excited because they're excited for people to default, and they're like, oh, well, then we can, keep track of all your assets. We can tie you to your credit score somehow, or like, who knows what creative systems they're going to come up with. But
This is not liquid loans. I'm not saying this about
no,
liquid loans,
no,
but I'm just
sorry,
saying
yeah,
like,
they're not liquid
but
loans.
this is like the shittier version of what's going on. But the reasons they're so excited. So this is what they're mad about, right? So basically, it's almost like we're I forgot what the equation was called, but basically, the value of a network is its users squared, basically. So if you have a
Yeah,
million
Metcalfe's
users,
law.
Metcalfe's law, yeah, thank you. Metcalfe's law, right? So they're saying there's sort of a Metcalfe's law for how much money is created in crypto because basically they're saying that like the DeFi users in crypto are tapped out. Basically, they can't borrow anymore. Like all they can do is a 50%, 25% LTV. So it's like they have assets. So it's like you just have there's a certain amount of money. There's new onboards, and then there's new onboards, and those onboards their money comes in the system. Then people borrow on their own assets, and then that causes a repossification cycle, which can cause the prices to go up higher. And then so it's sort of like we were growing at this rate, but we're growing slowly until we get enough capital to actually gigapump. So what they're trying to do is that they're trying to lever out like we can't we need a lot more money to pump up the system because we're going to grow steady eddy. So what they're trying to do is they're just trying to pump us with like money with like new type of debt so we can. So they're basically saying there's not enough money to super pump us yet. So like, so what they're trying to do is like, how can we do a 2017 type pump? So let's just bring uncollateralized loans in the system. We can just Chad pump this for about like 6 months and then crash it like 2017, basically. And like they don't care about that because they're looking for exit liquidity and money. So the whole thing is like they're doing this to pump the prices really high so they can sell the prices and then like cash out on all their coins. That's really the master plan here. And then let the retail people who didn't sell, the unlucky retail, just get wrecked, basically. That's
Yeah.
kind of what's going. That's why they're giddy about it, basically. Because right now, if they were trying, like most of these L1, Solana, Phantom, like I like Phantom a lot, but Avalanche, but it's like you can't sell, you cannot sell majority of your coins because you crash the price, right? Same thing with like a giga whale in Hex, like a giga whale in Hex, he couldn't, like, if he wanted to sell, like, he could, but he would just hurt the price too bad. It's that sort of thing where you're destroying your wealth by dumping like too much in a short period of time, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all cryptos in general, because there's guys who own like an ungodly amount of like Solana, and they couldn't take profits on even 5% of their bag because they would just nuke the price. They would nuke it from like $100 or $200 that it's at right now. They'd nuke it to $20. And then from there, then the rest of their bag's worth way less. So they'd be making themselves poorer. So what these dudes are looking for is exit liquidity and volume and shit to like be able to cash out those bags on people's heads. So it's crazy.
That's what they've always been looking
Yeah.
for. I mean, that's the tactic is like get in early, wait till enough liquidity is created to dump, and then I mean that's why they're called vulture capitalists, right? They're not venture capitalists anymore. They don't exhibit a lot of the same morality. Yeah, they're not as ethical, let's say, as like maybe they were traditionally, and they're coming into question even in the traditional market because of the Ponzi stock market basically. But we've got a question here I wanted to address before. I mean, I know I'm missing. I'm really behind in the chat, but this guy wants to know: 87 licensed. Are you concerned the bear market is coming?